Yo, welcome. Let me change this. All right, so hello everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's good. We are one day post launch. I figured it would be good to kind of just build on the momentum of everybody kind of having, their own set of issues and being able to answer some of those questions because I think education's kind of paramount to the success of these, especially with the front end being kind of deprecated. And if you don't know what that means, it means that a lot of the stuff that's in these original front ends are just older versions that aren't compatible with like newer Web3, and it causes a lot of issues. And you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh, well, why don't you just like tear all that out and just like put new stuff in?" The amount of effort that takes is probably like a month of work and like 20K of contract work. So we obviously didn't have the funds to do that at the beginning. But as we grow and as we, get the treasury built up, there's going to be more opportunity to be able to, outsource some of the bigger jobs that we have. So, look forward to that. One of the big things that I want to add is I want to completely remove the Wallet Connect feature and add a new one, a more modernized one, especially one that has core functionality, the core wallet functionality that's built into AVAX. There's a lot of benefits with that, of course. And I think that that will, realistically give more visibility to the entire project because AVAX, Ava Labs sent it to me and there's a Discover app on it. And I went ahead and did that today. So hopefully we're on the main page of that pretty soon. But yeah, just before we jump into the kind of educational portion, 11 mil TVL in less than 24 hours is actually insane. You know, I sit here and get like worried about like all these little things, but I just want to take a second and realize that 11 million TVL on a chain that has historically not had a lot of builders on it is fantastic. And it was a really good job by my entire team. And I know there's issues, but man, that's crazy. I mean, 10 million TVL, and we got to the top like six chains or top six dexes in like no time. Now we're in top five, and hopefully within the next couple of million, we'll be over Kyber Swap if we keep the momentum up. So I think that's fantastic. And I'm just really proud of that. I want to take a second to say that for my team. And uh, we have a lot of stuff left in store and a lot of people that we're talking to and a lot of people to assist on that TVL front. So hats off to them. And, I was saying $5 Glacier. I know that sounds kind of silly, but there was a solid fork, that had very similar numbers to us. Obviously, a lot different mechanics at play and a lot different. There's a lot of different stuff, but I still feel like with the market cap we currently have, we are ridiculously undervalued, and I think in time that will become clear. So we'll have to see what happens, obviously. And that's not kind of an indication for you to invest or not. That's just me thinking that Glacier has more in store for it as a token. We are over 500K TVL. And I wanted to explain one of the first issues on education is these APRs. So if you don't know how APRs are kind of displayed, there is something called API that collects information on, different tokens. And it reads it from things like Dex Screener, CoinGecko is a couple of the main ones that we use. And we had to custom code a lot of it, just like plug it and playing, because it wasn't gathering data correctly, especially for tokens that didn't have tradable pairs. So with that being said, that's where you're seeing a lot of APR glitching and APRs not being displayed if there's new tokens on the chain. We're trying to fix it as fast as we can, but it does take time and there's a lot of things to focus on all at once. So, I've been given a list of things to fix and I have to prioritize, based on what I think is most pertinent to that. So the APR issue, specifically with the Glacier pair, was because of the 200K POL liquidity that we added, but we did not add it to the gauge. If you remember, I told you that we deposited it, but we did not stake it into the gauge. And that's just like staking into a farm to earn emissions. We did not earn emissions and we do not earn emissions. Because of that, it's skewed right now what the APRs actually are. Glacier pair is getting the most allocations of Glacier out of anything. In fact, it's way above everything else. And so it's reading 365% APR because it's assuming that 200K POL that's now probably like, I don't know, it's probably worth like 300, 400K is in this gauge, and it's not, right? And so because of that, the only people that are actually earning Glacier is like the 150K that's in there by users. So they're getting 20% of all these Glacier emissions for the entire week, which if I do quick math, that's 200,000 Glacier or 300, something like that, of Glacier that they're getting essentially for free because people got scared off by the APRs. But when in reality, if you actually calculate it out, it's close to like 1,500%, 1,600% APR, which is insane. So I think that because of that, we're having some slow growth in the TVL pair and the LP pair for Glacier. But I'm just trying to explain to you all that, of course, that's an APR issue that has to be fixed and mended. So that is where all these issues are coming from the API. And again, the API is really old. So I actually expected the performance of the website to be a little bit slower than it is. And I think it's extremely responsive comparatively to what I've seen, which is exciting because we did try to add some optimizations to it. And it looks like they're working. And I think that we're going to be able to get some more. But yeah, I think that, in time, if you're looking at like a degen play of like the next week, that's cool. I'm not too concerned about that. I'm more worried about like the long term and the 6 month to 1 year mark. And so these degen APRs aren't going to last forever. So, take that bit of alpha and LP Glacier if you, feel inclined to, because it is getting extremely juicy APRs. So yeah, I think that once we get that fixed, that's one of the top on the list. I've been talking to Jimmy. He had to work on the F-bomb stuff and a couple other gauges that were giving us some issues. But yeah, let me pull up a list. I do have a list of things to talk about, by the way. You're going to see on the vote page, the voting APRs. So right now, none of the fees that are actually being collected because we changed. Let me go back a little bit. There is a contract that we changed that was called internal bribes. And there's internal bribes and external bribes, as the old Solidly model goes. Internal bribes is what fees are, right? Whenever you get fees, it goes into this internal bribe contract. Well, we actually took that out and replaced it with an external bribe contract. So we now have 2 external bribes, and they essentially do the same thing, except one collects fees and one collects actual bribes. And because of that, there's an issue with it not displaying the fees. Doesn't mean that the fees aren't there. They very clearly are on the chain, and they are claimable at the end of the epoch. But because the API hasn't been pointed to that, that is why you're seeing issues with no APRs on the voting APR, other than like some small ones or no or anybody that's essentially put in bribes right now. Another one was the A base pair. The A base pair is showing like $8,000 in bribes because it has USDT. There's an API issue that's calculating single USDT on the website as AVAX price, which is $17. So if you look, they have 500 USDT as a bribe, resulting in like $8,000 of bribes. That's obviously no bueno. We are obviously working on that one as well. So I'm just trying to tell you all known issues and what's causing them, and then also kind of why it's happening in the inner workings as best I can. So that issue, will be fixed, and we'll be able to see the voting APRs, and that'll be really, once we get that fixed, it'll help a lot with essentially telling these protocols to bribe, because then their bribes equate plus their fees on the pair, and that's really good because then the APRs go up, more people vote, more people lock Glacier to vote, and that's really the flywheel that we have to get to take part of. It doesn't happen in a day. There's investors that are looking at us, and it just takes time to play all this out. So the fact that the token's still performing at 9 cents, which is literally 3x from the launch price, I got to say I'm pretty happy with it. And I think that once we get some of these minimal issues fixed, we're going to be in a really good spot. So let's see what else we got. Staking and depositing. And I'm going to show this actually as an example on YouTube. So if you aren't on the YouTube, feel free to tune in or watch the recording later. I am going to show you depositing a stake issue that we sometimes run into. So essentially when the contract, whenever you add liquidity, it tells you a button at the very bottom. There's 3. It tells you deposit, deposit, and stake, right? And so what's the difference? Depositing deposits your LP to the pool. It makes an LP. Depositing and stake takes your LP, creates it, and then adds it to the gauge. And I've told you all the gauge is just like a farm, right? And so essentially, if the second part of that doesn't get accepted, right, it doesn't go through the chain, which happens sometimes, and you just have to retry it, you're not going to earn emissions. So that's an issue that is one of the top on the pertinent list because I want to make sure it's as accessible as possible to get people in these gauges and active. But that is the issue that you're seeing, and all you have to do, right, is go back to the liquidity pair and then click manage and add again, because you're already going to have my pool amount. You just need to get it to my staked amount. And so that's the main issues with that, and what the difference of them is, and kind of how to mend that bridge. And again, I'll talk about that again whenever I'm going to put my screen up on YouTube. So let's see, what else do we have? Connect wallet feature for Wallet Connect. I've told you guys I want to take out the entire Wallet Connect feature and add a completely new version of Wallet Connect. And I think that'll make things a lot smoother with connecting your wallet, connecting different types of wallets, mobile connect. A lot of other features can be fixed if we get a good Wallet Connect. But again, that is a bigger task than just add it. You know, I understand that people want to say that, but yeah, we are going to be adding a new Wallet Connect feature. I've talked to some other devs about getting it added, and hopefully we'll be able to start adding that to the list of things that we have to do. Let's see. Okay, another thing that I saw is a question: bribes and fees when you vote. So, whenever you vote, anytime you vote, right? If you see a $5,000 bribe and it comes in last second of the epoch, right? And you vote, you will get distributed that bribe as your vote weight, right? So, you know, however much you vote, you'll get whatever that bribe is. And so the difference is fees actually don't start adhering to your VNFT position, your rewards, until after you vote. So bribes literally divides it up evenly amongst all the voters, right? And then fees only go from when you vote forward. So if you want more fees and you're not so worried about watching and bribe hunting, you need to vote earlier because you're going to get more fees. But bribes will be divided evenly amongst your vote weight for that pair at any given time. Even if you vote the very last second, you'll still get your portion of that bribe. So hopefully that makes sense. But you'll see that, and it'll become more prevalent as we begin our epochs. And another thing that I saw as an issue, when voting, you have one vote, right? If you try and use less than 100% in the transaction, it automatically adjusts weighting to 100%. We had some users do this, and it was an issue that I should have clearly explained better. But when you vote, right, and say you put 15% to pool A, 50% to pool B, so altogether that's 65%. If you were to press complete or vote, right, what it's going to essentially do is take that weighting you have and make it look like 100%. It's going to use all of your VNFT, and then you're not going to be able to vote again. So it automatically allocates you up to 100% based on your weighting between the two votes. So that's the best way I can explain it. But when you make one vote for everything you want with that VNFT. And so what's best is if you want to do one for early fees or one for bribe hunting, potentially grab 2 VNFTs and split them and then be able to do that, right? So if you want different types of user behavior, you just have to make another VNFT. So that's what you have to do to kind of mitigate this issue of not being able to vote multiple times, even though you haven't set up your 100% of allocation on that one transaction. Once you vote, it's solidified, you're done for. So just keep that in mind and make sure when you vote, you're confident because each VNFT can only be voted on once and 100% of allocation has to be used in that transaction. Let's see what else. When voting, you have, that's the exact same fucking thing. Let's see. Pretty soon, I'm going to be getting a Dune analytics page. That's pretty essential to kind of Forker for him to start detailing out like how many emissions we're giving out, how much is locked, market cap of the token, productivity of the core pools based on emissions and bribes. There's a lot to go on there. There's a lot to think about. So it's going to be a little bit to kind of detail that out. But the Dune Analytics page should be up by at least the early next week. I know some people that do the Dune Analytics page, and I know how much they charge. So I'm going to try and get that done. You can see them on like Equalizer and everything else. They're very clear, and it shows you kind of the height of the pools and the TVL and all these pools, and so it's really good practice to kind of have that. But realistically, what I want is an actual full blown analytics page, one that we can base off kind of looking like Thena's, which is a fork of Uniswap's V2s. Let's see, gate pool. And then, what I'm going to be going over is kind of best intended practices. I think education is one thing, and then also showing you all how I would invest for the benefit of the protocol. What you need to understand is I'm investing with a bias. I'm investing with in the mindset of the best thing for Glacier and its ecosystem, right? So that does not mean you should copy me. That does not mean that you should invest this amount or what I'm investing. It only means this is what would benefit Glacier in the long term. So you need to take that for what it is. But the goal here is to actually show you all, hopefully have some issues come up while I'm doing it and kind of how to mend that bridge. Oh, and then the last thing that I have on my list, and we will be doing more of these. I'll try and do one at least every week or bi-weekly, just to get, community questions. But swapping from some currencies to another is inefficient due to the low amount of pairs. As we add more, this will be fixed, right? So we don't have an AVAX USDC. We don't have a WETH USDC. All these pairs that essentially would be able to kind of route themselves. So if you want to go to USDC to AVAX or USDT to WETH, because we have all these different pairs, it can't do that right now because we don't have enough. So we just don't want to go too thin, too fast with our emissions and really build it slowly. So we will start building up on that. And another thing that will really help with that routing is actually the DEX aggregators. We just sent in our thing for Paraswap. Firebird should be coming on soon. Yak is integrated. And then Ava Labs actually reached out to 1inch for me, which is pretty cool. So we should be getting listed on all 4 of those. And hopefully that'll help with bot and arbitrage transactions coming through, which is obviously more volume for us, which is great. So 1 second, and I'll go ahead and share my screen on YouTube, and then we'll invest this $800. Let me take my smoke break. All right, good. No questions so far. Yeah, guys. Let's show you how to invest in the platform. Make sure I get to the right one. But don't kill me. This is not the new one. I didn't have time. This is our chart. Of course, I'm a chart watcher to watch my protocols. To my own detriment. I watch it too much. All right, so here is the Glacier homepage. I already have some WaveX loaded up in my wallet. I already have some Glacier that I bought. So what I'm actually going to do with this Glacier, I think I had 40 something, so I used 50% to buy Glacier. So what I'm actually going to do with this is make a locked portion. And if you didn't know, one of the cool things is that, so let's say I wanted to use my max amount of Glacier. Let me refresh this. That's another thing I can talk about is the API. So you can see that showed 0 because I haven't been on this page or refreshed the actual website since I've had this page up. So another issue that we're seeing is this one right here. And we're still trying to figure that one out. That's something to do with Netlify. So that's just, these are just growing pains that we're gonna have to deal with. So let's go back to that. And now if I go to lock, see that I have the 3200 here. Lock all of it for max. And you can see that I have 3200 V Glacier. If I did less, and I've explained this many times, but just to show people, because this is recorded, if you do less, you're going to get less governance power. And that's a gamification of making you lock more, because we want less Glacier in the open market. We want more Glacier locked up and being productive in the ecosystem. So now that I have it set up, I'm going to go ahead and lock it. Let's see if MetaMask will not rug me. I don't know if you all have had this experience, but MetaMask has been going ungodly slow for me. It's loading up right now. And there's a new custom spending cap. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I saw some people have some issues with that. But you do have to approve everything that you're spending now, which is actually good practice for you. Y'all seeing that? Good God. All right, so it's going to take a little bit. It's going to approve that, and then another transaction is going to pop up. There it is. So we've allowed the vesting contract to use your Glacier. So it's important to kind of know what these mean. So first, you really have to approve everything on smart contracts. So I've approved that this can now take my Glacier out and send it to the vesting contract. Let it go here. God, look at the speed of MetaMask. I need to get Rabbi for real. Rabbi really fixes a lot of issues that MetaMask has. So we're going to confirm that. And it actually, my MetaMask just bugs out and locks up. But if I just exit it, it'll just keep going with the transaction. And the vest has been created. It's great. So again, this is that same API issue. You see nothing here right after I've made the lock. It's because it doesn't auto refresh. It has to have a manual RPC call, which that whenever I refresh, it's going to use my wallet and check if I've got any NFTs. So it's going to take some time to do this, which is frustrating. I know. But historically, this has been a lot better than some of the other ones I've been seeing. So you can see here that I have a 116 NFT value. This NFT is now expires in 3 months. And if you're wondering, kind of what you do with your NFT, in the next week, I'm going to lose a vested amount. I'm going to move from this point to this point. Right? I'm going to lose how much vesting power I have. And the only way to keep that up is that next week after the epoch, the epoch ends, it's going to go to this value. I'm going to go to manage. I'm going to increase the duration again. You're going to increase it for the maximum amount of time you can. And it may be 2 weeks, but you could actually set this a little bit lower. But regardless, you want to set it to max and keep your max power. You're not going to get liquid Glacier the entire time it unvests. It's going to take time all the way up until when your contract's up with the contract. The contract's up with the contract. I know I'm saying that kind of weird, but it is true. You have a contract with this contract that you have locked Glacier in it, and you're choosing to lock it up for 3 months. And so when that expires, the contract says, okay, this user has met the requirements. I'm going to send that liquid Glacier back to that user. And so if you're not constantly locking, you lose governance power. So now with this, before we make LP, I'm going to go ahead and vote. And I know a great pair that I'm going to be voting for, which is going to be, looks like our bribes page down. Jimmy might be working on it. But either way, I don't really need to see it. I know that there's 1,000 AVAX on the, there it is. This one right here, I'm going to be voting 100% for the Glacier AVAX pair. I told you all that I'm going to be a maxi on this one, and I'm not by any means telling you all what you should be doing. But it does have $2,000 in bribes, so I'll get an equal percentage of that. So we can actually check how much I'm going to get here. So right now, 29% of the entire allocation is already done. We're going to add our allocation and see where that goes. Let's wait for slow ass MetaMask. Here it comes. There it goes. Wonderful. Thank you, MetaMask. Try it again. I'll go ahead and cast the vote for this, the Glacier WaveX pool. And I'll be earning on that. And again, next epoch, I'll have to vote for something else. And I'll have to base it on bribes, how many fees are accrued. I'm pretty sure the Glacier WaveX pair has like 800K in volume. I think it's like 800K. 800. And then you times that. I think you times it. Yeah, you times it. 0.2%. About 1,600 in fees plus 2,000 in bribes, by the way, in case you were wondering. About 3,500. All right, so now we're voted. And the cool thing is when the epoch flips, right, this 5 hours, let it get to rewards. It's going to show my VNFT here. And eventually I want this to show you how many fees and bribes you'll be earning. But right now, we're just got to work with it. So you see it's blank right now. But when the epoch flips, I'll actually be showing the fees that I accrued on that, the bribes that I accrued, and I can actually claim it, right? So we'll wait, we're going to let that cook for this epoch. And now we're going to add liquidity. So we need to go back to swap. I think I've only used WaveX. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're going to use 50% of this, not for USDC. We want Glacier. Dang, I wish it was this. 14 AVAX for 0.87. I'm going to lower my slippage, by the way. I'm working on getting that reduced to a default of 0.5, by the way. So we're going to use 50% so that I still retain 50% of my value because we're going to be making 50/50 LP. And MetaMask, don't fail me now. Hopefully, after we create this LP, we get the internal JSON error. Is kind of what I wanted to do. Lord have mercy, man. I just exited my whole page. Wonderful. See you later. Huh. All right, so let's go back to the page. I'm going to add LP. Hopefully that went through. It might not have went through, actually. And 50%. Well, I accidentally did 2% slippage, but I'm not going back because MetaMask is actually rugging me. We had this exact issue when we were trying to do everything yesterday. All right. See what happens. See if we can get a transaction. And I'll read everybody's chat here in a second, by the way. Swap successful. So now we have our AVAX and our Glacier. So a lot of people were trying to create a pair. And I'm going to show you a common issue that we started seeing with a lot of this is people would go here. They would click stable. And then they would try to add. They would try to add it like this, right? So the problem here, right, if it lets you go through with this, is these two pairs are not a stable pair, right? These are uncorrelated pairs. We do not know the value of AVAX. It's not assumed. We do not know the value of Glacier. It's not assumed. It's based on trading and everything else. So what you actually need to do if you're creating a pair that's already whitelisted, which is what you should be doing in most cases, is you're going to find it here. The Glacier AVAX VAMM, the volatile pool, right? I'm going to manage it. And now I'm going to add on a volatile pool. And whenever it asks you this right here, it's just asking you what rewards to display as. So, if you don't have a VNFT, it doesn't really matter. But if you do have a VNFT, it'll just show you rewards there. Right. So now every time that I have this VNFT selected, it'll show me rewards for this LP. So you can see my deposit and stake. If you go advanced, you can actually see the difference. There's going to be deposit and stake or just deposit LP. Depositing LP makes the LP and puts it in the pool. Does nothing. You earn fees on it, but nothing else. Should not do this if it's a gauged, whitelisted VAMM or SAMM. You need to deposit and stake. We're going to deposit and stake, and you can see that it's going to go through a lot of stuff here. See what happens. Hopefully it gives me the issue, but I feel like with less people engaging with the website, I might get lucky here. Holy cow, man. I'm switching to Rabbi today. It's such a burden. It's literally just frozen. Look. Literally just frozen. What's someone to do here, Come on, MetaMask. Here we are. Let's try it again. So what just happened there is it probably actually just deposited my my LP, because I think I've already engaged with this contract before. But let me make sure before I speak out of turn here. So no, it's not showing it right now, but I need to refresh and make sure. But y'all are tripping. Y'all thought that I was live, like sharing my screen on Discord the whole time. Now we need to get this updated. Hope to God that we can get something happening here. But obviously, you know, the response time is a lot left to be desired. I'm telling you all that, you know, it's a huge burden to overhaul AI and all of the front end, because everything that connects with the contracts, it's just a huge undertaking. So we have to take it. We have to work with what we got, and improve on. Right now, I'm not seeing anything, so we're just gonna give it some time. I don't know how to do descriptive audio on this. Just go check. There's too much interaction. And I'm not seeing anything right now. It's frustrating. But I'm just telling you the fix to this, and the best fix we can do is legitimately just refreshing as much as you can. It's completely went down on me. It's the perfect timing. It's the perfect timing. Really can't beat it. I'm guessing the API's either crashed or we're having some other issue in the back end. Let's hope I can create LP before the live stream turns into 2 hours. I'm gonna try disconnecting my MetaMask if it loads. Because I actually really do think a lot of the issues are going from this. And see, some people are not having this issue, and I am, and that's part of this. That I'm trying to explain to you all is that these are the kind of the quirks that we have to go through right now. And it looks like I'm just not going to be able to do it right now. So I'm probably going to have to clear cache. And look, I mean, MetaMask is legitimately just stopped working completely for me. See if my rewards, but like these kind of finagling is quite common in Web3 for deprecated stuff like this, and it's showing my token ID, but for some reason liquidity is not pulling up. So the best thing you can kind of do here is, I'm gonna do it over to the side, is clear cache, exit out of everything, clear cache. What I'm gonna do right now. And there's plenty of Google tutorials for that, by the way. I'm not gonna show you all how to do that. I've cleared all the data, and I'm gonna exit out of everything. And get back on. Let's connect wallet. Nobody hacked me. Let's see if we can get, and you can see that I've now clear cached, reset my browser, reset MetaMask, and now we're getting everything. So I could have probably done this from the beginning, but the hang up is that you need to clear cache. There's been a couple of optimal solutions that I've seen as far as like what we can do for these pairs. But the main thing that's happening is it's kind of crashing things because there is more RPC calls, right, than should be. And an RPC call is you calling the node and then it calling back, and the API is trying to load a bunch of things, and you're kind of slowing things down. And the website's doing it in the most unoptimal way possible. And so one of the big fixes is going to be fixing that solution. But either way, now that we're back on, let's go for it again. Let's find that Glacier pair right here. You can see that I actually still have it in my wallet. So let's manage, add. Looks like Glacier went up. Set my slippage to 0.5. Deposit and stake. Now we need to go through these transactions. Again, you have to maximum confirm Glacier and also and the AVAX. So both pairs have to be max confirmed, or just the amount that you're going to be using. You don't have to max confirm. Confirmed. All right, the next thing in the list is going to be trying to deposit tokens in the pool. This is where you're going to start getting issues. It may confirm this one, and then a lot of people get the explanation point on this one, which is where it goes from the pool and deposits to the gauge. So here it is. It's done it. You can see that it's having issues with it. For some reason, there's something happening in between you depositing into the pool and then also depositing into the gauge. So something within that transaction is causing issues. So now that you're here, you've had this issue, you're going to refresh so that the API can refresh. You're going to go find that pair again. Right. Now you can see that we have it in my pool amount, right? I guess I could have, at this point, went to the top page and went to my pool amount, but it's not pulling it because I forgot it's not pulling USD value yet. So yeah, so find the, there it is. All right, so you can see it here, my pool amount, but to earn emissions, you need to be in my staked amount, right? So all we have to do, go back to manage, right? And then you just, did I do this wrong? There it is, sorry. All you have to do is, now that you have the LP, it's going to give you the option to stake it into the gauge, right? So stake 193. You have to confirm the transaction again. I actually think something in MetaMask is not allowing you to do this part right here where you max your LP, right? Because you have to confirm spending cap here. Well, you all can't see this. Hold on. So here it's telling me to custom spending cap, and I'm maxing it out at all my Glacier LP. I think between it depositing into the pool and then moving it to the gauge, for some reason, MetaMask can't see the custom spending cap and can't ask you, are you okay with it? So it's kicking it back to you. That's just my assumption. But yeah, that's one thing that I see it. It may not be that at all, but it seems like the most likely candidate from my point of view. And we've now deposited. We're waiting for a confirmation. And you can see that MetaMask is still rugging me. Just a lot of swirls. But actually, am I crazy? Like, is this common for MetaMask right now? Is everybody else having this many issues? All right, cool. Because like, I thought maybe it was my internet, and I was a little concerned, and it was really frustrating. And then I started hearing people talk about it, and yeah, it's no bueno. All right, so we need to do it again and hope to God MetaMask will allow it this time. Someone said take out the last few digits, so I will. Let's see if it'll approve. and it's approving fine, but it's not, the screen won't load for me again. MetaMask is being more burdensome than here we are again. It's really frustrating that MetaMask is doing that. Try again. But the main point of this entire subject is you are going to have to try multiple times sometimes. So don't go straight to the Discord and be like, why is this not working? Try and do some of the tips that I've used here, and let you guys know. But yeah, obviously with ease of access to this and it not giving us this many issues, it's going to allow users to deposit much more efficiently. And hopefully we're able to not have so much burden on the user and allow the site work as intended. But I mean, it's frustrating. It's a frustrating experience, mainly because of MetaMask. I really don't think this is a contract interaction issue. I just think that it's the MetaMask is taking so long and it's just kicking me back. I'm gonna try refreshing again. But we'll get in this gauge. Yeah, that's awful. MetaMask gonna lose a lot of people to Rav out here pretty soon, huh? Let's see. Let's see if I can get in this pool. I can show you all how reward stream. Wait. Wait. Are we gonna get a second pop-up? That's what we need. We need a second pop-up. We're waiting. Confirmed. We should get another pop-up here. Nope. That's frustrating. Yeah, Tom, but I understand. I wish we could get the latest one where it was, kind of simple to do it. Sadly, it's not. Putting a new Connect wallet feature is not as easy as copy and pasting the code from the other ones. I know because I asked. We're getting this money in here, honey. This one's already kaput. This is pitiful of MetaMask. I mean, I know some of it's obviously on the site because we knew these issues were happening. But the two combined, tough, man. Yeah, no, the V2, like I said, is going to be like the most modernized wallet connect feature that you have access to other things other than just MetaMask. Look at this. MetaMask actually crashing on me. That's insane. I've never had MetaMask crash on me. All right, should be asking for my, let's see if this works. We're going to get there, boys. Or girls. All right. I think we should just reject this one, right? Refresh this. I don't think it's AVAX, Kyle. It did this to me in some other solid leaf forks. I don't even think it's solid leaf forks. I just haven't been investing very much lately. So I don't know. But either way. Yeah, I'm also on Firefox, so I guess that could change things. I know that they're going to use most of their support power to go after Chrome. All right, we have a pop up, but it's good. You guys can refer back to this video and look at some of the solutions that I had. Hopefully, you all have a little bit better interaction than me. What did MetaMask add recently to this most recent build that's causing all of these issues? Does anybody know what they've added recently that would have caused this much? Guys, hold on. Load, MetaMask, you've got this. Come on. Guys. Yeah, I don't see any other features other than this this max on it. So I don't really understand what all they've added to slow it down, because like the last time I was making a lot of MetaMask transactions is probably like, I don't know, 3 months ago. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. I mean, I still have this dead MetaMask extension, but it did go through. So we made it. We made it. And now we have a my staked amount here. Again, this APR is wrong. I'm writing a fat stack. It should be streaming now, but sometimes it does take a second. But another thing is, because of the manual API refresh needed, you have to refresh the page on rewards a couple of times. But here we are. We're already earning. So that's how you do it, boys and girls. It's that easy. First try. All right, somebody edit this video and cut out all of that middle part. First try. But yeah, so now one of the big things I want is a USD dollar value beside these, right? And we're going to be adding that. So that would make it easier for you all to see, along with your liquidity or your positions being updated with some of the newer stuff. But realistically, everything on the front end is remarkably better, right? And I'll pay a lot of money to give a better user experience. I think you guys know that. And it's going to be one of my big goals. But like, one of the points of this education is to show you guys that, like, yes, there is quirks, and we will work through them. But if I expect users to put in money, you know, we're going to be working on this front end and some of these issues and some of the solutions that go around with it. It's not optimal, but it is a working front end, and actually works, in my opinion, better than a lot of these other front ends. And there's a lot of room for improvement. But if you let us get through these growing pains, you're going to start seeing seamless stuff happening, where we can kind of optimize the execution of your transactions on Glacier. And we're going to need it, because I think we're going to have a lot of eyes on us in the short term. Some of the meetings that I've been in are quite impactful, and I want to make sure that the front end is kind of up to snuff with what we're planning on Glacier being. But, you know, whenever, you know, Trader Joe first came out, or Pangolin came out, the front end was just literally 2 buttons. You know, it was very simple. This is the first iteration of a Web3 bleeding edge tech. It cannot be done in, you know, 10 seconds. It can't be done in 1 week. We have to grow into these kind of things, and I think we will. I think we're going to be just fine. But, you know, if you're having common issues, I think this is a really good video of me just kind of showing you, just kind of raw dogging it on the website, and showing you that you're not crazy. Everybody's getting these issues, and this is the best way to kind of mend that bridge. And, you know, still, it's kind of inexcusable, certain aspects of it. And, you know, I hate that these, you know, that people are having these experiences. I really do. And we're going to get better, and we're going to do better, and we're going to get it fixed. And enjoy your fat APR while we do it. So, yeah, go back to 1Cam and chat. I don't want you sniping my positions. Yeah. I think, to be honest, I think it's because I'm on Firefox, and Web3 just decided to become unfriendly to Firefox. Thena. Question about vGlacier. Since it's an NFT, do we sell it on an NFT marketplace? Yeah, of course. It's in your, as long as you haven't voted, you can sell it and transfer it. But yeah, it's already like on NF Trade in your wallet and stuff. I'll let anybody get questions in that has them, so that we can. Also need to get on this YouTube so that I can eventually cut off the live stream. Otherwise, it would have went on forever. Shout out to Murder Mystery 2 coming out on Netflix tonight. It's movie night for me and my family. But yeah, get your questions in if you have them. That's everything I wanted to cover. But I'm going to leave it up just a little bit longer just to make sure if any stragglers. We're so close to 9 cents. How does one collect the earnings from voting? Good question. I guess I could show it again. Let me just go back to my screen. CDR, I don't know if you're watching on YouTube. I guess it wouldn't help. Okay. So your rewards for your fees and bribes actually won't show on your NFT position until Epoch flip. Once the Epoch flips, you can go there and claim all your rewards at once. Beforehand, the fees usually stream to you, but because of the exploit that happens with an internal bribe contract, we had to flip it out for another external bribe contract. So all of them will accrue. Now the goal is, because they are technically getting acquired by your NFT, you just can't claim them. I do think there is a huge potential to be able to show you those. Now you won't be able to claim it, and I want to make sure that it's clear on the front end that you can't claim it. But it is nice to see those kind of fees and bribes kind of stack up on your position. I have a question. I've seen on other forks that they have all rewards claimed in separate transactions. Would it be possible for Glacier to be able to claim all in one taxon? I can ask Vincent. He's the king of efficient transactions. But I would have to assume that there's no way to make less transactions. To be honest, you're having to manually claim from multiple different transactions. You could still approve one transaction, but it's still going to make the same multiple transactions. David said the problems you had happen on Chrome and MetaMask as well. Yeah, so it's definitely happening to some users. And I do think it's a mix of just our front end and also MetaMask at its current in its current state. Does anybody else have questions? I just want to make sure that people feel comfortable with the website, feel comfortable with the issues of the website. Like my goal here is to make you all as confident in your investment as possible, right? And that's kind of my job. That's good to hear. iOS with MetaMask is not nearly as bad. I haven't used phone for DeFi since like a year ago, to be honest. But I also work from home and I work in DeFi. So yeah, I guess I'm biased. Yeah, Sub-Zero. And again, I'll ask Vincent if he feels like it's an attainable goal. Tampa says, is there an ETA on the API updates? If you're referring to like the small ones like USDT showing $17 and all of that, yeah, I'm trying to talk to Jimmy right now and see what his list is for today and try and get some updates pushed out. You need to get you a tablet, Sub-Zero. Even a tablet's got to be a better user experience than phones, right? See how much I've accrued. My Glacier position. I don't even know how big it is. It was 20. It was what, 14 AVAX? It's 14 AVAX. What kind of math was I just doing? 1750 times 14. 245. So that was like a $500 position. All right. I'm gonna give you guys just a little bit longer to do it. I have some other stuff in the back end that I need to work on, including getting with Jimmy. Well, no, you could just do it from Wi-Fi, Sub-Zero. I'm talking about just like an iPad that you can use from Wi-Fi. Make sure there's nothing else in Glacier Fi. But one thing you guys are doing and have done, and I want you to continue doing, is right, and this is important to me, that you keep sending in these issues, right? Just because we know about them, unless you know that we've already like talked about it, especially here. If it's a known issue, of course, please don't send that. But keep sending in small details. You know, Knuckles, sending it into Knuckles, sending it into to me, sending it in as a support ticket. That's really the best way for me to even know it's an issue, to send it to the appropriate parties. The team is going to start getting bigger here quite soon. And we really need to buckle down and fix some of these issues. And the only way to do that is to kind of collect them, get them in some kind of organization, and then start knocking them out with death power. You know, and that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to approach it. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to get better over time. So, you know, take it as you're kind of beta testers and you're getting paid for it with high emissions. So I feel like it's a worthwhile investment. What about it, guys? Any more questions before I sign off? I guess we've been going for about an hour now. Yeah, we've been right over an hour. What about always land an hour? I'm getting good at my, I hope this isn't just my job of doing AMAs, but I always go for an hour and I can start feeling that hour come up. Win launch. Yeah, all them win launchers just kind of left the chat, huh? Our mission's live. Our mission's coming live. God, dude, that drained my soul yesterday. I was so tired and I still stayed up. You know what's crazy is, you know, anybody that's ran a protocol or been in this, or probably even ran their own business, right? When you launch something like this, when I even was laying in bed, like I was checking the charts, I was checking the chats, and it's just part of it, right? It's just kind of like a 24-hour gig. Yeah. Well, anybody that I guess got in is getting still. I mean, the chart looks, in my opinion, really fantastic. We got down to about 7 cents, 69 cents. And we've been getting slow growth. I think once that API issue's fixed on the APRs, hopefully we get some people aping in. D-Bank listed us. I'm not joking. Indeed, tell me if I'm wrong. Is that not one of the fastest? Is that not one of the fastest D-Bank listings you've ever seen? Am I? There's no way we had that much hype that D-Bank was waiting for us to launch, dude. There's just no way. Like, it's funny to think about. Like, I love it. But it's just crazy, right? Like, we got listed within 12 hours. I thought that was cool. I mean, it really made me kind of like get gassed up. And we hit 12. We're at 12 million TVL, by the way. BT dubs. Indeed. Would you assume they're rotators? So I'm actually looking because obviously, yeah, I know they're your friends, which are AKA rotators. Yeah. So one of the things I was gonna say while I'm looking at D-Bank, because I love looking at this D-Bank thing, it's so nice to look through everything. Let's see, deposit. No, where is it? I wish they had one that was just like kind of for liquidity pools. Let's see. Kyber Swap is of course above us by 1.5 million. They just recently had a bump in TVL. And one of the interesting things is that they actually have most of what they have in their LP is actually W memo, which I want, by the way. You guys didn't know that. Yeah, Kyber has a huge deposit of USDC, and also there. So on the I can actually send it here in the chat. So if you look like on the right side, it shows you kind of the percentage of the tokens. And you can see they have 21% of their deposits are WMemo pairs. And 25% of us are AVAX and USDT, which is one of the reasons I wanted to use USDT first, by the way, which worked in our favor. True. Because they wouldn't answer my DMs, and Ava Labs didn't know anybody that worked there, because like they're trying to connect me with all these protocols, and they didn't know. But yeah, I mean, really, we got to start knocking down the big guys. The next biggest one past Kyber is going to be Synapse, which is a bridge. Then Platypus and Curve, which I don't really say is competition because it's just different. The biggest one that would, like, this is no joke. If we even got close to Pangolin, they got 29 million. And I used Pangolin when it was like nothing. One of the first one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Sifu is down to talk once you can afford to give realistic yields. Yeah, maybe once Glacier's been out for a little while, got its legs under it, we can definitely have more conversations. I love how it turned like a very dedicated community education call into me still just doing AMAs and talking. Athena asked, what is this? What does this mean? So that's a breakdown, right? Of how much of each asset we have in our liquidity pools. Ours is down there with 25% AVAX, 21% USDT, then 19% USDC. But yeah, so the above one is actually Kyber Swap. It has 21% W Memo in it, which is some liquidity that I really want, to be honest. Do think it's a good pair. It's been quite stable, very thick liquidity, and some pretty good transactional volume. It's crazy to think that is, but it is true. Come on, Glacier. So close to 9 cents. I would go as far as increasing the native pool votes with your NFTs. I assume you're talking about team NFTs and depositing your initial LP. You're talking about putting the protocol owned liquidity into the actual gauge and then using that to incentivize lockers and bribe matches. Yeah, we actually have, because if you didn't know, if you only just deposit your LP, you actually gain fees on that LP. But if you deposit and stake, you earn emissions. Very different. Okay. So depositing just your pool, which is what we did for our protocol and liquidity, we actually earn fees on it. And we've earned about, I think, I can't remember. It's last time I checked, it was like 800 or 900. So we could technically use that to just strip out of there because we can claim it and then just add it to our bribes for the Glacier pair. What we really need, right? This is the last thing I want to put on this on the talk here, is that the goal, the method, the approach is bribes and fees generate enough hype to lock Glacier up. Makes you gotta want to lock Glacier. You gotta see the APRs are more productive than the emissions by a little bit. And then because of that, there is a constraint in the Glacier supply. There's more buys in it and more demand for it. So it goes up, which increases the LP emissions. The LP emissions are increased. It's not because more Glacier's given out. It's just because the Glacier price is higher, then more people stake in those LPs. And thus, protocols win, users win, and we win. So that's really the goal here. That's the entire thing. And right now, you're not really seeing it take place. And I'll tell you why. One, it's only 24 hours since launch. But two, we haven't really seen what the APR structure is going to look like because voting doesn't actually move the APRs because it's epoch 0, which is technically a manual epoch because it's not supposed to have rewards. So when we flip to epoch 1, things will change pretty dramatically. You're going to see core pools get a pretty big boost. You're going to see some of the bribes take effect and make people kind of vote over for them and increase those APRs. You're going to see a lot more gamification, whereas right now we kind of just had like a set amount. You know, the non-productive payers will get less emissions as they're unable to keep up with it, and less fee Glacier of a position, and the bigger payers will start performing a little bit better. And at that point, we can start incentivizing other core pool payers and expanding our TVL out. To have these core pairs and the minimal amount of partners we did have and still seeing 12 million on AVAX, I think is quite successful. It's very true, by the way. Indy, I know that people have their opinions of him, and I get it. But he has been very helpful to me in the back end, and he is very good at what he does. He can retain capital and make it go up. So as long as it's being used for the benefit of Glacier, then I'm all for it. So this is where I'll end it. I appreciate everybody's time, and I'm glad that we got this recorded, and got everybody got to watch me for 20 minutes fight MetaMask in my front end. And we will see you on the next one. I'll continue to do these educational calls to continue making people more comfortable and learning the process of Glacier. But please remember, right, if there's anything, if you're an APR chaser, the APR is on Glacier, and it will be updated quite shortly. But if you want to know, it's like 1,600%. So it's pretty juicy. 20% of that 2 million got allocated there. You can do the math on kind of the Glacier, and there's only 500K TVL with Glacier at a 9-cent price point. It's quite high. So continue giving me the benefit here that I'll still be optimizing this and trying to fix things as we go. And we will, we're only at 369 total depositors, total users, right? Some of the big boys like Pangolin, Trader Joe, Stargate, all of them are over 5,000. I promise you that AVAX has been extremely helpful in the back end with me. I just went through a formal KYC process with Ava Labs. I think things are about to go a little bit different than people may expect. This is a real DEX with real incentives, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it number one. So thank you guys, and we'll talk again soon. Let me make sure I can get in this. I'm not ending yet, by the way. Hold on. Dun, dun, dun. Oh no. All right, let's bring Glacier up here, the bot. Lay me out. See you guys. Don't be chart watching too much. Glacier's only up.